Hello YouTube, this is Blue Dream ASMR back with another video showing off some more of my collections. Today I have some of my Magic the Gathering cards, one box. This box I'm going to be sorting today. This is one of the boxes I got from one of my friends who actually first got me into Magic the Gathering, and he moved out of the state recently, and he also stopped playing the game, and so he got rid of all of his cards, and he gave me some of them because I didn't have that many, and I still played every once in a while. It's been about a year since he gave me these cards, and to be honest, I really haven't played or done anything with these yet, but I thought that now might be a good time to pull them out and take a look and show you, and I can start the tedious process of sorting them. So, if you want, you can hang out and listen to me pull out some of these cards and take a look at what we got, and we can start sorting them. Maybe talk about some of the cards that we see. But most of all, we can just make some noise. This is the smallest box that he gave me. There's one just like this that's even bigger. And then a few other different types of smaller deck boxes. I know that some of his partially disassembled decks are in some of these bins, so we'll see if there's anything in this one, but I think most of it is just bulk. I think that he was pretty knowledgeable in which cards had value, and he made a point to sell those off so that he could invest in his new card game obsession, which is Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood. But I never got into Flesh and Blood like he did. I still prefer good old Magic the Gathering. Even though I don't play very much anymore, I still prefer it. So, yeah, I was happy to take most of his cards. Without further ado, there's lots of cardboard sounds in this video. Without further ado, let's see what we've got here. It looks like there is a combination of loose cards. And sleeved cards. Looks like there might be some dividers in here. Some turn counters and some deck boxes. Let's start with some cards, I suppose. This might take a couple of videos to finish. What do you think we should sort them by? Do you think we should sort them by color first? I think we might start by sorting them by color. And then once we've sorted them by color, maybe we can sub-sort them by type. Jory, master of the review. I like low-level Magic the Gathering, actually. I think it might be fun to make some pauper decks out of this bulk. If you don't know, pauper is a low power level, or at least typically is a lower power level, but it's where you're limited on the value of the card. I think it's no card in the deck can be worth more than $1. And so you avoid the power creep that can come with sometimes these people will put their whole paychecks into their Magic the Gathering decks, I swear, and it can kind of make for some unbalanced games sometimes if you have other people who aren't willing to make the same type of investment. Before I go into micro sorting, let's see what some of these boxes are, because there might be some partially built decks here, and that might be interesting. Oops. That came off the lid. There's another half of the deck box in here. There we go. I'm gonna slide these back. All right. Let's see. We've got a deck box here from Ultimate Guard. Ultimate Guard. Ultimate Guard. A little bit of deck box sounds for you. Boulder deck case. Boulder deck case. Ooh, is it going to click together? That might have been a little too loud. We'll see. I may have to edit that one down. Anyway, let's see what was inside. I see some artifact tokens, some thopters, some treasure, mirror, bird tokens, a lot of tokens, Undercity. Oh, these are from Dungeons and Dragons set. I love Dungeons and Dragons. I will say I was not the biggest fan of some of the new mechanics that they brought into the game in Dungeons and Dragons set. one of the big ones were these dungeon cards, and I don't know, they just felt a little gimmicky to me. The way it works is you come in at the top of the dungeon, and then there are certain cards and abilities that will let you progress through the dungeon, and every time you get to progress through the dungeon, you make a choice. So you come in on the secret entrance, and you get that ability. And then, once you get to progress, you have to choose. Do you go through the forge, where you can put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creatures? Or do you go to the Lost Well, where you get to scry 2 and you continue through? But if I'm being honest, I never really liked this mechanic. What I really wish they would have done instead for the Dungeons and Dragons set is do more with the party mechanic. That was a mechanic that was introduced in a previous set, and I just think that it would have made so much sense to build more support for that mechanic and that deck archetype with the Dungeons and Dragons set. I mean, a Dungeons and Dragons party is a core feature of that game. So, having more cards that interacted with the party mechanic. If we see a card with the party mechanic in here, I'll explain how it works, but I like it. But the only problem is there's not very many. It was only introduced in maybe 1 or 2 sets. I don't know exactly. And there's just not that much support or many cards that interact with that mechanic, so it's not that viable as an archetype yet. But let's carry on, and I'm beginning to sense a pattern with these cards. I think this is where he kept all of his tokens. I think he pre-sorted all of the tokens for us. So we can thank him for that, I guess. We can keep all these together, that's fine. But maybe not in a deck box. Anyway. Let's make sure none of these are in sleeves. Okay, those are all good. Let's look at these ones. Okay, these are all tokens as well. Okay, ooh, that one's fancy. Got some sleeved ones. Ooh, these are not all tokens. What the hell is this? That is a land. Okay, so most of these were tokens. We're gonna put those over there. Some monarch tokens. Here's another monarch token. That's not a card. That's paper. He must not have had enough Eldrazi spawn tokens, but we don't need those. Copy. Okay, so all of these are tokens. Alright, well there's our first category. Let's see what's in some of those other boxes. I'm just going to put these with our other cards that we are going to sort later. We'll put our empty sleeves over there, and then that's just garbage. Okay. What should we look at next? on the Dragon Shield Gold Classic cards with a cool looking gold dragon. These are my favorite card sleeves as well. The Dragon Shield. They just work the best. Ooh, there's a little bio. I've never read this about the gold dragon. Pontifex, the precious father. When primitive man first found gold on Arcania, it was in the shape of a dragon's scales. These scales were said to be the sheddings of Pontifex. Time would then churn them into fragments and scatter them about the world over aeons. Gold dragons are amongst the most rare of the ancient dragons. They are always male and can vary greatly in size. The secret of their reproduction has never been discovered. One theory is that fragments of stars falling to Earth are their beginnings, made live by powerful magic on Arcania. Pontifex has not been seen since before the time of the cleansing. It's a little backstory about Pontifex, the gold dragon. Anyway, let's get into it. Inside, we have some empty card sleeves. Not very exciting. We're going to put those with our other card sleeves. And we're going to put Pontifex to the side. Next, we have Petrol Matte Colored Dragon Shield. That doesn't look like a dragon. It looks more like some sort of eldritch being to me. What do you think? What is that? It's not a dragon. Maybe. Oh. Maybe it is. Are they all dragons? I don't know. Let's read. Abigan the Morose. Once upon a time on Arcania, a small basket was found on a doorstep with 2 dragon hatchlings inside. Abigan and her sister Elaban were cared for by a human family who loved the 2 immensely. While the 2 sisters at first appeared identical, as they grew, the differences physically and mentally became all too apparent. The family eventually died, and perhaps because of that, Abigan became large and heavy, a worrisome thing who seldom moved from the same spot as mold started to cover her. Sullen and lonely, Abigan now spends most of her time sleeping, awakening only to feed and worry herself back to sleep. I could write these. I think I'd have fun with that job. Story by Ian Spiegelblum. Ian, how did you get your job? Because getting to write little blurbs like this would be a dream come true. Anyway, do we think there's cards in here, or do we think that there's just more sleeves, empty sleeves? Let's find out. I see sleeves. Problem is, I don't think that there are a full 100 of any of these colors of sleeve, and it really doesn't do me all that good. Oh, okay. These used to be mine. I recognize these. This one in particular, I think these were my fairy sleeves from my Alayla fairy deck, fairy artifacts deck. I used to use these sleeves for that, for obvious reasons, but what I found was that these were very low quality sleeves and they kept ripping and breaking on me. Now, I may not be the most careful shuffler, but I don't want to be changing out broken sleeves every time I play. That's just me. And these kept breaking, and they're kind of hard to find, and not as cheap as normal, more durable Dragon Shield sleeves. So I changed the sleeves that were on, and these might have been extras that I gave to my friend, or these might be the sleeves themselves. I don't know. They do kind of look scratched up, so who knows? But I do recognize those sleeves from, they used to be mine. Anyway, let's set those aside. Let's put Abigail the Morose to the side. Just some more sleeves. Sorry. What else do we got? Now this is a deck. Now he kept some of his decks mostly intact, minus the expensive cards that he took out of them. And he offered to, he did that so that if I wanted to remake this deck, I could. It would be in a good starting point. And he was very, very good at making decks and building them. Much better than me. But to be honest, I don't really play the same way that he did. He's a very combo heavy player, and I liked things a little bit more casual, so I think I'll probably end up disassembling a lot of these decks just to make more bulk, to be able to make some more fun casual decks with friends, maybe do some drafts or something like that. But I do remember his deck, his Cathrall Aspect Warrior deck. It's this nightmare insect. Legendary creature, nightmare insect, costs 2 white, black, green. It says, when Cathrall Aspect Warrior enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on any creature you control. If a creature card in your graveyard has flying, repeat this process for first strike, double strike, death touch, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, and vigilance. Then put a +1/+1 counter on Cathrall for each counter put on a creature this way. So, the way this card would work is he would discard cards from his own deck as fast as possible until he got creatures in his graveyard with those abilities. And then he could cast his commander and power up his other creatures. So this deck has lots of creatures with those keywords: flying, vigilance, trample, all those ones. And my favorite, I saw it while I was flipping through earlier. Here we go. It's called Zatulpa Primal Dawn. This has flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, indestructible. And he's got some other cool things. And I liked playing against this deck. This was one of his more casual decks, I would say. And by that I mean I felt like I could sometimes compete with it. It wasn't one of the ones that I had no chance on. Maybe today, rather than focus on sorting, we can just focus on getting as many of these unsleeved as possible, and then maybe in another video we can get into the sorting. So I'm just gonna start unsleeving these cards, and maybe if I find ones that look interesting along the way, we can stop and look at them. But oh, Zatulpa Primal Dawn, look at that. Always a cool card. Nyx Weaver, Canopy, Vista, lots of these good lands, these good multicolored lands that are so important and sometimes hard to get. Ooh, look at these. He had a lot of these cool. He always liked to make his decks pretty. I appreciate that. I like a pretty deck, guys. I like a pretty, what did I say? A pretty deck. Whoops. I made a mistake there. A little Freudian slip. Or was it? I don't know. D-Spark. Orzhov Basilica. This is a bit of an arm workout too, trying to do this fast and working around a microphone. I'm not gonna lie. Getting a good workout. I already got a pretty good workout today. I was outside all day getting my garden ready. There's a lot of work in that. A lot of digging and raking and plowing and moving stuff and bending over. It's a lot of work. It's kind of late April right now, so we're trying to get it ready so we can plant things kind of mid-May. We always like to try and make our garden a little bit bigger every year and a little bit more complicated, so this year we're adding a wildflower pollinator plant and butterfly garden to one corner of our yard. And we're moving around where some other things are getting planted, so should be fun. Almost done with this Cathril deck. Arcane Signet. You can never have enough Arcane Signets in Commander. It's kind of an auto-include. I think when you're playing casual Commander especially. I don't know. Maybe the game has changed. Maybe this isn't as good anymore. I really haven't been paying attention the last couple of years, but to me, Arcane Signet, especially in Casual Commander, was a no-brainer, almost as much of a no-brainer to include as Soul Ring, so it's good to see those cards, those basic cards still in here, because, ooh, even a Pain Land. Cave of Coilos, look at that. You can tap it for colorless mana, or you can tap it for white or black, but you take 1 damage. Sometimes that 1 damage is worth taking. It's worth taking a little bit of pain to get that fast mana out there. You don't have to wait to use it like some other cheap multicolors. I love Pain Lands. Jeremy, I said I love Pain Lands. Netherborn Altar. Nighthawk Scavenger. This was one of my favorite black creatures. Vampire Rogue. Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink. Nighthawk Scavenger's power is equal to 1 plus the number of card types among cards in your opponent's graveyards. So, kind of a wild card, but it's got the right keywords for this deck, so it's just good here. I don't know what else to say. Myriad Landscape. See, a lot of cheap lands enter tapped. This Pain Lands doesn't enter tapped. You can use that color to mana right away. We're gonna have to find a place to keep all of these sleeves. We're getting more and more sleeves. Look at all these. Set those aside and let's gather up these cards carefully. I mean, they're not valuable, but I kind of don't want them all over the place, kind of like I have them now. I'd prefer if they were all facing the same direction. Let's see if I can manage that. Yeah, looks good. Again, I like seeing those shiny basic lands. Got through. See, here's an example of another cheap 2-color land that produces either a white or black, but this one again enters tapped. But when it enters, you do get to scry one. So helps you search for those big creatures. Anyway, we have officially disassembled our first deck, and that'll get sorted along with the rest. Over here, let's pull out tokens. Paper. Sleeve. Thought I saw a token there. Let's continue on in this first row here. The sleeves we're going to set aside, and anything that wants to be sorted we're going to set over there. There's a few tokens here. We know where those go. They go off to the side. Then you can never have too many turn counters. These are great. You know, when I was really, really into Magic and playing a lot, I would use my phone app as a timer, or as a counter, but since, when I'm just playing a pickup game, it's so much easier. I don't even have the app on my phone anymore. That's how little I play. Malik isn't Paragon. This is such a cool looking card. I know this was another one of his favorite decks. I don't see the rest of the deck here, just the commander. But we'll be sure to find a home for that. Ooh, a shiny reliquary tower. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of good finds here. I might... a couple Bolas Citadels. This might convince me to play again. I do have a few friends who might be interested. Is it just me, or does color look off in that card? Oh well. Let's see. All of these are free of their... Nope. Prosh. This is another one of his commanders. Very dangerous card. This deck fell victim to a power creep. He slowly made it better and better and added more powerful combos and win conditions until it was no fun to play against, and nobody wanted to play him because he had just combos that would end the game out of nowhere if he drew the right cards. So that's why I like Casual Commander, and that's why I think he got burnt out so fast, is because he was honestly just too good. And so, whoops, I dropped one behind the desk. I'll get it later. But no, really, he was too good, and I live my life with a philosophy of trying not to be too good at anything. Because, see, this is actually not a whatever it is. It is a boar. See? Clear as day. It is a boar. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh. I distinctly make it a point to try and live my life so that I am not too smart at anything or too good at anything, because it just makes it not fun anymore. Dumber and hotter. That, my friends, is the key to a happy life. Being dumb and hot. So I make it my effort to, when at all possible, make myself dumber and hotter, because I want an easy life. And people who are dumb and hot seem to have very happy lives, so why not? Try and eat good and healthy, and try to exercise, and also try to not take things so seriously. That's all it really takes to pursue dumb and hot. Doesn't take much. We could all stand to be a little dumber. Well, some of us can. What do we got here? Alpha Authority. We seem to have another deck. I don't see a commander. This looks like an equipment deck. I like equipment decks. I like Black Blade Reforged. That could go in one of my decks. I mean, I think I already have a Black Blade Reforged, but it's not in English, and I will be honest, I forget what cards do, so when at all possible, I like to have my cards in English. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to have to pull out my phone and look up what a card does while I'm playing the game. I think that that's just... Oh, here we go. Akiri. Whenever you attack a player with one or more equipped cards, draw a card. Pay 1 white. You may unattach an equipment from a creature you control. If you do, tap that creature and it gains indestructible until end of turn. Let's de-sleeve this deck. Oops, sorry. Alrighty, Kiri, let's go. Now this is going to take a lot longer than just one video. I'm realizing now to sort all these cards, so if you want to see me do more, make more videos about my Magic cards or other collections that I have, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I intend to make, I know I haven't made any videos in a couple of years, but I have a nice spot to record now, and I don't know, it might encourage me to do some of these projects that I've been putting off for a long time, you know, don't have a reason or time. For some reason it feels like if I'm also shooting a video while I do these silly little projects, then it's all of a sudden becomes worth it. I'm gonna try and not be so careless about how I set these cards, so I don't have a repeat of the last time when I had to re-square them up and reface them. It does make me go a little bit slower, I will be honest, but maybe that's not a bad thing if I do it right, you know. Anyway, yeah, I might make this a series, sorting and organizing my Magic the Gathering cards, but stay tuned, I guess, if you want to see some of that content. I've got lots of different things. I also paint miniatures. I've got a whole bunch of miniatures that I need to paint. That might be another good thing that I can ramble about while I'm doing it, making a video. I don't know how good the sounds would be of painting. I don't know. You tell me. Maybe we can try it. I don't know if it really makes a sound when I'm painting, but I don't know. I guess we could try it. Black Blade Reforged. I really like how this one looks with the sword. It is a legendary artifact equipment. Costs 2 Colorless mana. It says equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land you control. Normally it costs 7 colorless to equip, but if it's a legendary creature, it only costs 3. It's a fun card. I have a couple of decks that might fit well in. So, we'll see where it ends up. One of these videos I'll show you my decks. I'll dust them off and we can look at them, go through them, remember them. It'll help me refresh them in my brain for when I play some more Magic the Gathering. I don't want to end up, maybe I'll end up as a Magic the Gathering YouTuber, but probably not. That's not really there's a lot of good Magic the Gathering YouTubers, and let's just say I am very much a casual player, and that's all I care to be, so. Another deck has been disrobed. Look at that shiny Akiri. Very cool. Let's see what else we got. Let's finish off this row. Ooh, look at that mountain. Oh, I love that mountain. I wonder what set that is from 2022. I don't know. It looks kind of cyberpunky. Maybe it's from that funky ninjas set that came out. I don't know. Oh, why is everything so spun around? That's not even a sleeve. Okay, I think those go like that, and those are all facing the right way. And what is this? Alpha Authority. What do we got here? I have no idea what these all are for. They seem... Ooh, another Arcane Signet. Can't have too many of those. And Command Tower and Soul Ring. This was definitely a deck, but I do not for the life of me know what it is. So let's take the sleeves off. Oh my god. Throw a sleeve to the bottom. That's annoying. So we're gonna face it this way. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I hope this is relaxing. I hope that this is the kind of thing that I definitely find relaxing, watching other people do. So hopefully some of you find this relaxing as well. For me, it's just a good excuse to do, albeit kind of a silly project that needed to be done. Doesn't needed to be done. None of this needs to be done. this needs to be done, but I'm a little type A OCD, so I like when things are sorted. I like when things are neat. I like when things are organized and everything has its place. And what better way to appreciate a collection than having it all be accessible and organized. So eventually I'd like to also upgrade my storage. I could 3D print some different pull-out drawers and bins for different colors. So there's lots of things we can do. Lots of different things we can do. Oh, more of these kick-ass holographic lands. I am so psyched to see those. I am going to poach all of those for my basic bitch lands in my decks. I never liked to spend more money than I had to on Magic. I always got the cheapest versions of every card. I don't know. But I didn't like proxies. I don't know. Not that I had a problem with other people using proxies, but there's something about going through the effort of finding and buying the cards that just made it feel more impactful to me. So, there you go. Let's start on this bottom row. We got one snake token in a sleeve. We'll put that over here. What else is over here? Ooh. This is a fairy rogue. The one thing I will proxy is I will proxy tokens every time because I really like having the right token. Like, if a card says that it makes a 1/1 black fairy rogue token, I want the token to say 1/1 fairy rogue with flying. So there we are. Excuse me, sorry, that was a little loud. Alright, all of these look like they are ready to sort. Let's see what these are. These look like they are dividers. These are going to be really helpful actually for when we start sorting. We've got dividers. They can section off what we're working with. But here we got 9 fingers keen. Nice shiny and a prophetic prism. We'll set this there. And we'll set these dividers over here for now, but those I'm glad to find because we will be needing lots of those probably. Got some more sleeves here. These are all empty sleeves. I'll be honest, I might throw away a lot of these sleeves. I kinda, when I build a new deck, I will be very intentional about what color sleeves I buy. I usually don't just use whatever's lying around. And like I said, a lot of these don't have, for Commander, which is my favorite type of Magic to play because I like playing with groups. But for Commander, you need 100 sleeves that are the same color, and a lot of times you get left over with these like small packs of leftover groups. of sleeves from different things. Ooh, there's a card in there. And you don't want to get rid of them, but there's really not a whole lot that you can do with them. So they kind of accumulate. They kind of accumulate, And so, honestly, what I think I'm going to do is I'm probably going to throw all of those sleeves away. I don't have anything to do with them. Here's a token. And I need the room. I need the space. Raga Draga Gorut Gorgut's Boss. That's a cool looking card. Again, Arcanum Weaver. I know that was a deck that he had built at one point. I don't know if if it still exists in any form here anymore. Maybe we'll find it. This might be all the rest of this project here. The rest of these look like they are unsleeved. Yep. So when I build new decks, I usually just buy new sleeves because I don't really see the point in hobbling together and using old sleeves, and it's kind of wasteful. But I don't build decks that often, so it is what it is. These are the last two that we need on sleeve. And also, we have our first sorting category. Tokens. Let's put tokens. Right at the end there. And we're going to put all these dividers right here to show what's been sorted and what hasn't. And now let's add all of these cards that we unsleeved back to the box. Let's see, which way are we facing? We're facing, oh God, multiple ways, of course, but most of them seem to be facing at least. Okay, well, we haven't gone through any of that pile, so we're going to make a decision. We're going to face this way. And this might not be where all these cards end up living. The other cardboard box I got is, much bigger, so I may, if they all fit, I might put all the cards in that box, but we'll have to find out. That's for another time. Let's we'll throw those in there too. thank you for joining me on this first episode of sorting my Magic the Gathering collection. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and a comment and subscribe for more videos just like this. And if you have any specific requests or sounds that you liked that you wanted me to do more of, let me know. Leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.